Hello everyone. So I have a different project for you today. Again, this is me having fun around and trying to see if I can make some code cleaner or nicer. Not that there is anything wrong with that code at all. This is the metrics platform Java project. So this is meant to help collect metrics for our various applications. It's supposed to be used in various contexts. And let's see what I found. So what I was looking at is those things that are named controllers. I usually think that something that is named controller that's not in the context of a model view controller or model template controller is a suspicious. Controller is not super descriptive. It doesn't explain what things are doing. And so it usually means there is logic that is there that needs to be moved to somewhere where it makes more sense. So looking at this, I can see we're applying rules, and those are the various curation rules that we have. And there's a lot of logic about applying rules based on those rules. One of the things that is suspicious here again is that I have a method that relies on external objects. So it relies on rules all the time, and it relies on data all the time. So that's an indication that it probably belongs more on that curation filter, so the rules, or on the performer data, the data. Let's see what those rules look like. So I have different kind of rules, and just for the structure, so I have rules about collections. See if whatever I'm checking against is contained in something, contains all of or any of. Same thing about comparable rules, things that are equal, not equal, blah blah blah. And I have a standard curation rules that is similar to that comparable, but more limited. It's just about equality and being in a collection. So things that only require, only depend on very limited values, limited properties of objects in general. Okay, so let's see where are those rules used. I can control click. I see it's using that curation controller. So when I'm trying to apply those curation rules, I'm checking if the rule is not null. That somewhat makes sense. I checking if the value I'm checking against is null or not, and then I'm trying to apply rules based on those 4 properties of my rule. Let's go back. Yeah, I have 4 properties, and I'm checking against each of them. So a few things. That looks like this should be on the rule itself. I would like to have a curation rule that knows how to evaluate itself. So it's going to be easier for me to understand. I have the definition of the rules here, and I have how I apply them in the same place. First thing I'm seeing here. I don't like those null checks, like rules. I should have a null object here, but let's put that to the side. So, for example, if I have a rule that is null, I always return true, then I should have a specific instance or implementation of those curation rules that always returns true. I suspect there's something related to JSON. Yeah, we're parsing those rules from JSON, so adding logic there to manage null object is probably not entirely trivial. Let's ignore this for the moment, and let's have a look at if we can move that around. So just to be sure, so we're applying various rules, and those rules are, if I apply the equal rule, I'm checking again that the rule is not null. Oh no, I'm not checking the rule itself, I'm checking the value of that rule, the value against it, which I'm testing equality. Yeah, that's slightly misleading, I think. Code never lies, it's just misleading. So this isn't actually a rule in itself, it's the value against which we check the rule. Like the rule is mostly the method. Okay, if I wanted to do that here, so first I have a rule that I evaluate against some kind of value, and it's going to give me a boolean if either the rule is applied correctly or not, or it passes the rule or it does not pass the rule. That sounds very much like a predicate. So let's do yeah, there is a standard predicate T. That sounds good, and I can Alt Enter. I need to implement the method of that predicate. So I have the test method, that's the one I'm interested in, and I think those are default methods, so we can combine predicates. Let's just see. So in a predicate, and yeah, I'm combining two predicates, checking that it's null, and then testing one and the other, negation and all that. Yeah, so I'm getting for free some default implementation of ways to combine predicates. Maybe that's gonna be useful later, but even without that, by tagging by those curation rules as implementing predicate, I'm making that intent, I think, more explicit. So that rule was about applying equal, and I'm checking that the rule is null, and otherwise I'm comparing the values. Okay, so let's do that. So the rule in that case is the is equal, and how was that done? Yeah, if it's null, or yeah, or is equal dot equals t. I actually want to rename that to value. I think that's making more sense. That's the value against which I'm testing. Okay, so that's the first rule that matches. I want to check not equal in exactly the same way. I'm going to add parentheses just to make it explicit. And so is not equal null, then that's always passing, or is not equals dot equals value, and I want to negate that. I have another test here, which is in. So if n is null, that always passes, and otherwise the apply in rule rule contains value. Yes. So in dot contains value, and I have a last one about not in. Yeah, that's mostly the same. Not in, not in, and negating that. Okay. So that seems a reasonable implementation. Let's see if I can go back to where is this used in my curation controller. So now instead of doing this, I can do my rules.test against that value. I don't like those guard conditions with a block. I think it's a simple guard condition. It should be on a single line. It's very easy. Now that value null, how I treat that value is really about how I implement that rules, I think. So I want to move this here. So anytime I test, if my value is null, then it doesn't match anything. I'm returning false. And I think that makes sense. I think that, yeah. The in is interesting, or the is not equal. So let's say I have a test that tells me I have a rule that's telling me I want to only pass things that are not equal to 0, for example, and my value is null. 0 is not equal to null, so I would actually expect that to be true. So there's some inconsistency here, but that was there before. I'm assuming that's what we actually want. So I've replaced this with testing the rules here. Let's see if that still works. I do have tests here. I think it's Curation controller test. Let's see if it passes those tests. And yes, everything is green. That looks good. I should do the same with those other rules. And I'm assuming that if I do that, I'm going to be able to move most of the logic from this controller to something else. And we'll see where that is. I'll leave it at this as a first step, and I might be back with the other ones. See you.